Welcome, everyone, to episode 85 Evolution, where we are joined with a very special guest, someone who I believe might just be the best female to cover pro wrestling. I say that because, well,
I paid him. That's why
yeah. And it's American currency, so I'm rich now, and there's no tariffs. It's fantastic. But no, pleasure to have you, Ella J. Thanks for joining us on the Chris Parrish podcast as we chat evolution. Obviously, today in the live factor is the day of evolution. This is a pre-recorded episode, so bear with us if we talk and things don't happen later tonight. So, yeah, it's KFAB, right? That's what Sting always said. But I don't know. But yeah, no, once again, thanks for joining us. But before we get into anything, I do have to thank sponsors. They do help pay, so I do need to do that. So if anybody is checking out any of the WWE or AEW PLEs in the live in the Edmonton area, please check out Beercade YEG, located at 105 482nd Avenue. You can check them out and support them at Facebook, Instagram, and on the good old X. And thank you to the Turnbuckle Studios, where you can go to turnbucklestudios.org to learn more about the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. If you want to begin a career in podcast and content creation and join the team, that is the place to go. That is how I do that quickly. But Ella J, once again, how are you doing? And if you want to take maybe 30 seconds or so, let everybody know just who you are and what you do.
I'm Ella J. If you don't know who I am, I'm the greatest women in wrestling. I'm lying. That's per Parrish's words, not my own. But I mean, similar to you, I also do podcasting, mainly interviews. I like to do occasional fun, like prediction shows and reviews. But most of my work is on the writing side. Nowadays, I've been very fortunate it'll be coming up on 3 years in October that I've been full-time in wrestling writing and still doing podcasting and interviewing. So yeah, 6 days a week. I work sometimes 7 if there's, pay-per-views and stuff like that. So wrestling has definitely taken over my life, not more than it has than ever before.
Yeah, what's that added phrase? We got to work to support our wrestling habit.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, but no, that's awesome. It's very rare, I think, nowadays that people still do the writing, even though we see it or all the time online. It's still very rare. Before we get into any of the shows, how did you get into the writing? Because I'm just curious from my own end.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, if it were up to me, like I'd love to be podcasting, interviewing all the time. But let's just be frank. Unless you're like The Rock, the hosting, or you're like a Chris Van Vliet who has so much experience and he went to school and he's built his own empire, it's just not really like feasible in this economy. I have a background in creative writing. I had a minor in that in college. I've always loved writing. I took some journalism courses in college as free electives, which maybe I should have taken as a sign that I should have made it an actual route. But I got started because of podcasting, actually. And then some of the wrestling websites noted that like I was a female in this male dominated industry. And they were like, do you want to start writing? Do you want to start writing for us and like doing like content? So that's how it started. I was very fortunate that I had a couple of wrestling news sites that I had followed for years, like reach out to me because they had saw my podcasting work in wrestling and everything. And kind of just took a chance on me. I didn't have any formal experience in wrestling writing, so I've been very fortunate that I've had to learn a lot from people, and people have taken me under their wing. I've technically been doing wrestling writing since 2021, but full time it's been almost 3 years.
I'm just going to say this. Yes, Chris Van Vliet knows The Rock, but Ella J, someone who we both agree as, in our eyes, the best female pro wrestler of all time, absolutely. Mickie James.
Yeah, she's over here. You can keep her a little bit, but yes.
What about Mickie James do you love so much?
Well, so I got into wrestling like late 2000, the second half of 2009. So that was when they did the infamous Piggy James storyline. So that was my first introduction to her. Now, granted, was it like the most tasteful thing ever? No. But for a 12-year-old insecure preteen, I saw myself and Mickey. And like I'd experienced some like, similar things with like body issues and stuff like that, especially when you're a preteen girl and all of that. So I instantly like connected with her. I didn't know that kayfabe was a thing. I thought it was real. I didn't know that they were characters. So I'm rooting for her, boo, like cool. Now I like them. But then I started to understand the business more, and she has such an inspiring story, like in real life too, that's like kind of dark, but like it made her who she is. And like I think she's great in the ring. So like just personally, professionally, like my respect and love for her has so many layers. And now I can call her from hero to friend, and that's crazy to me.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I know you went through probably one of the more awkward, like the body shaming kind of angle she did. I went to the WrestleMania where she did one of the more inappropriate gestures at WrestleMania 22. If people want to go and search that, do that. I won't. I don't think I even should even think about.
It's not even that bad,
replicating.
Honestly,
It's not.
But she didn't have permission to do it, so that was the thing. She just did it.
It's better to ask for forgiveness and beg for permission anyway.
Yeah.
So it's but I mean it's that kind of stuff that I believe helps people like Mickey James, among others, reach the status they are, because taking chances is such a hard thing to do, not just in life, but in professional wrestling. And knowing that you have it in you to do it, I think that just shows you how special of a talent or a human being you really are.
Yeah. I mean, I'm biased towards her. Like I know a lot more now, but like just genuinely, I have always loved her. Like it started with that storyline, but then learning her stories of stuff that she went through growing up that nobody should have gone through made me respect her even more, and things that she's come out with in recent years, and like she's just been so like underrated her whole career. Like, and I feel like she doesn't get the respect that she deserves a lot of the time. Like she gets chances, but then she gets screwed over. It's like this repeating cycle, and it's really frustrating as both a fan and a friend of hers. I'm like, I wish there was something I could do, but I will always support her. I kind of feel like she's an underdog, and I feel like I'm kind of an underdog in a lot of ways too.
And I think too, like one of the cool things is like when I think of TNA wrestling and I think of the Knockouts division, I always think Mickey James.
Yeah.
I think Mickey James, I think Gail Kim, and I think without them, we don't see a Knockouts division. We probably don't see the Knockout tag titles.
Yeah.
We don't see the evolution of the women's division in TNA, which I think really helps step up the evolution we see in WWE when it comes to women's wrestling.
Oh yeah, TNA was definitely ahead of the curve. Like Gail Kim and Awesome Kong, that almost didn't happen too. It was Gail Kim that was fighting Jeff Jarrett to let her rest. I only know this because I wrote a story about this not too long ago. Like that almost didn't happen. She had to fight because she was managing James Storm and their group and stuff, but she wanted to wrestle. They were feuding with like Jackie Moore and them, but she wanted to wrestle. And so I think it started like maybe late 06, 07, he finally let her wrestle on TV. And then that obviously led to her and Kong doing that. And then the Knockouts have always been great. Like my literal first TNA memory was a Knockouts only special on New Year's Eve, 2009, a few months after I found WWE. So that was my first intro to TNA, was the Knockouts. And then like Mickey came like maybe 6 months later, which was great for me. But yeah, so TNA, my first memory of them is the women too.
Yeah, they're actually coming to Edmonton for the first time this year, and I am so giddy. I can't wait to see who I think might be the new face of the Knockouts division, Masha Slamovich. And like that is somebody I'm just over the moon excited for. I know a buddy who's like, aren't you excited for Joe Hendry? I'm like, I went to the Rumble. That's fine. That's fine. Like, I believe there, but I want to see this Knockouts division.
Well, there's some implications at
I know.
Slammiversary, which I'm sure you were getting to, but
Oh, yeah, and I even once have held out the Knockouts tag team title, and I once got a photo wearing it. I got permission to wear it, and I lost it, and I'm so mad because that is still today one of the nicest looking championships I've ever seen firsthand. But but let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Because I know you're just as giddy as I am about wanting to talk about this Evolution show coming up. Right now, as we talk, there's 6 confirmed matches, I believe.
7.
7, yes.
Today,
7.
7th is confirmed.
Yeah, we're recording on July 6th, people.
Yeah.
So it's 7 as of today. But we know that match is the Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch, the reigning champion, going up against the inaugural champion, Lyra Valkyria, and Bayley.
Yes.
Let's just start there because this might be the match that has probably had one of the better builds going into this show.
I agree.
How do you view this one? And let's have fun. Who are you rooting for? But also let's dive right into it.
Who am I rooting for? I like all 3. Lyra's kind of already held it, so I don't think she's going to win it back. Bayley would be great, but I also don't see Becky having a short reign. So I think Becky's going to win. Honestly, I'd be happy with any of them winning. I think if I had to pick somebody, though, it would be Bayley because it's been a hot minute since she's held the title. But I think it's going to be Becky. I think Lyra's going to get even more of she might not have to get pinned to lose necessarily. But I think it's too soon for Becky to lose the title. And Becky is Becky. She's not going to lose at Evolution, I don't think. But this is definitely going to be a great kind of spotlight for a newer mid-card championship, especially with someone like Becky and Bayley in there, 2 veterans in WWE. So I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time betting against Becky Lynch in almost any scenario. She, in my eyes, transformed the perception of women's wrestling and was a really key component alongside Ronda Rousey of women main eventing a WrestleMania. I think when it's all said and done, Becky Lynch might just be making the case of being the greatest female performer of all time. With everything she's done, I think it's really hard to say. Although Mickie James, you're still going, right? So
I'm always biased. I can't not. I'm personally think it would be Charlotte in the conversation personally, but that's also me being biased because I'm also a Charlotte girl. But I think Becky is definitely in the conversation. I like Becky. I've never been personally the biggest fan of hers, and I'm still a little bit salty about how they did this in the beginning. I think them winning the women's tag titles was unnecessary. I don't know. I personally, if this is just a little thing, I think the rest of the story made sense. Becky turning on Lyra, that was expected. I'm happy with the story after that. I just think them winning the tag titles for 24 hours was unnecessary. I think Becky could have turned on Lyra right after they lost at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
That's just nitpicking though. That's just a small thing. But I think the rest of the story I have enjoyed so far, and it has made sense.
Yeah, and this inclusion of Bayley and going all the way back to WrestleMania where it was supposed to be Bayley and Lyra, which even then I thought was a little forced of them being a tag team, but they absolutely gelled amazing. This is one of those rare cases of putting 2 singles acts together and it just immediately works out. But I mean, it's Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. How can it not? And then you had somebody attack Bayley, and then it ends up being Becky Lynch, who then steals the Intercontinental Championship away from Lyra, and then Bayley comes back, and then we have this. And I really do think it's going to be the rift between Lyra and Bayley that allows Becky to just slither her way out of Evolution, still the Intercontinental Champion. But before I even get to the next match, the last time we talked, it was, well, just from face to face. It was a while, and we've seen a lot of things.
Mhm.
There are women intercontinental and United States
Yeah.
championships now in the WWE. And even though as of right now we don't have a United States championship match there, what do those championships in your eyes truly mean to women, but also women wrestlers?
Well, I can't necessarily, I guess, speak from a women's wrestler perspective, but I have to imagine, you know, that I have friends who are on the roster. Hell, Chelsea Green was the first women's United States champion. I know she was super happy about that. It's more opportunities for TV time, although I will say with SmackDown going back to 2 hours, we'll see how it goes for the SmackDown brand. But the women's intercontinental championship, I think, has been greatly spotlighted on Raw. You know, I think, well, I guess before like Lyra, she had a match against Dakota Kai and like Ivy Nile. She was sometimes there, but I think since Becky's holding it now, it's definitely gotten more of a spotlight. Or even in her feud with Becky, it's been a lot more spotlighted. The U.S. title, I think Chelsea Green had a great first run. There's not much more. I mean, she did have the same like opponents. I love Michin. They wrestled, I think, like 3 times during her reign, and then she had one against Selena, which was really it. I wish there could have been more for her, but Chelsea Green makes the most. She made it entertaining. She did what she could. Yeah. You can't really. She doesn't book herself. You know, I think it was an entertaining, fun first reign that could have been more, but that's nothing on her. That's just on booking. And now Julia is obviously the women's U.S. title, which is one of, you know, the biggest free agent signings they've had in a hot minute. I won't say she's at Becky level, but they've definitely booked Julia really well and booked really strongly. So I have high hopes that her U.S. title reign will get more time, kind of like as the women's intercontinental championship has the last few months.
Yeah, and I really like the fact that she is now the champion. For this whole point of it seemed like you're always comparing Julia and Stephanie Vickers their entire runs, and it felt like Stephanie just was able to hit a certain stride right before Julia could, and maybe it even felt like it took away the Julia hype just a little bit, or that's how it felt like for me. So when they were both brought up to the Raws and SmackDowns, I really think that this is something that now Julia has to kind of bring back, and I think it's going to be easy for her because of how good she is, and now she's no longer being compared to anyone else.
Yeah, they're on separate brands too, which is good.
And now everyone's going to just see just how special she is as a talent, and I love the fact they're doing the Shinsuke Nakamura-esque type vignettes with her, less graphic-y and just more personal, and I really like that. If by chance Julia does defend the United States Championship at Evolution, who would you predict to be that opponent?
The thing is that it could be a legend. It could be someone from NXT. It could be a main roster. I don't think it would be someone from NXT. If it were like a legend, oh my god. The thing is that she's a heel. She could like trash talk and then coax a legend into coming back, which would be really fun. Who's been out? I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I think I know they're on separate brands, but I think her versus Natalya would be really fun. But obviously, like, Natalya's in a tag team, which may or may not be involved in another match at this, but we'll see. I don't know. I know this won't happen, but like Bull Nakano was the first name that I thought of. And like she's teased coming out of retirement. And I think if she were to face Julia, I think the internet would lose their minds in a good way. I think that would be really, really fun. Although it could be somebody from TNA too. You know what? Give me Killer Kelly versus Julia. I think that would be really, really fun.
I have 3 possibilities I want to throw your way, because one I think is a nostalgia, kind of like what you're saying, somebody from the past, and that would be your friend Mickie James. I think that would be a hell of a match. If you're bringing somebody up from, or if you're going to do somebody from NXT, I would love a Fallon Henley.
Oh yeah.
But if we're bringing somebody completely out of left field, isn't Abaddon not a free agent?
They are. Abaddon is, yes.
How amazing of a quiet snag would
Yeah.
that be for WWE to bring Abaddon in and boom, right into the United States picture?
I'd be down for that.
But but to answer your question, I don't know if there are a lot of set to return female talent.
Yeah, like the
WWE.
only one is like Kiana James, that I can think of. Everybody else is pretty much back now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, I think like TNA, like I want like TNA representation on this. If they
Yeah.
were to do something, I think a Killer Kelly versus Julia would be so much fun. They're both like, they both can be like psychos in a good way in the ring. They would just beat the crap out of each other, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. This obviously, if it does happen and we go in not knowing an opponent, could lead to speculation. But one thing of speculation that we do kind of have to talk about, because we haven't heard anything as of today, as of this recording. We know that at one point, either a Liv Morgan versus Nikki Bella or a Liv Morgan Raquel Rodriguez title defense with the Bella twins was potentially rumored. So you probably know more about this than I do. What could you share about Nikki Bella's possible involvement with Evolution? Because she not only main evented the last Evolution in 2018, but she was being, it looked like she was going to have a huge part in this year's. What would you know, and like take us away from that?
Yeah, so from what I have heard, the plan originally was going to be Nikki and Brie versus Liv and Raquel, but Brie hadn't agreed to anything. That was what they were hoping, I heard, for, but first they had to agree. Brie had to sign something, and in the event that Brie didn't sign something, I heard that Nikki versus Liv one-on-one was kind of the backup plan, but obviously that's kind of out the window right now with Liv's unfortunate injury. But I mean, not necessarily. You still have, at the time of recording this, two teams who still have to be revealed for the women's tag team title match. It's going to be a fatal 4-way now. Nikki and Brie, technically, Nikki appeared on Raw. They could, I guess, technically be the Raw team. They didn't say they had to be like signed to Raw right now. So they could be, but if it's like Nikki one-on-one, I mean, I feel like Nikki Bella versus Chelsea Green is something that you could absolutely do, because Chelsea has called out Nikki Bella like several times in several interviews. And like Chelsea kind of just like embodies that Divas era, and they never got to work together. I don't think, except, I mean, they were both in the Royal Rumble this year. But I don't even think they didn't even touch, because Chelsea was way eliminated by that point. So I think if they're not going to be involved in the tag team title match, I think Chelsea versus Nikki Bella would be really fun.
Yeah, and I believe Nikki Bella was number 30 this year.
Yeah, and Chelsea was like number 5 or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
she was probably, I think, by like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So very early, but so nothing concrete that you know of right now. So clearly they're WWE is keeping that very tight-lipped. And yeah, no, you mentioned it, that fatal 4-way for the women's tag team championships. As of this recording, we know that Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss qualified in a triple threat match against BFAB, Michin, as well as the Secret Hervis. So they've qualified to represent SmackDown. Now, we don't know the Raw and NXT team. There was something that was rumored that we could see Maxine and Natalya, known as the Dungeon Dolls, which, by the way, sick name, representing Raw, and Zaruka, not as sick of a name, but awesome talent in Sol Ruka and Zarya are representing the NXT brand. If we take out Natalya and Maxine Dupree, that could be, I think, a very great spot for the Bella twins, because you might know this more. They've never held the women tag team titles before, have they?
Yeah, because the women's tag team titles came in 2019. Brie and Nikki were done full time around like 2018. At least Nikki was around 2018. Yeah, because after like that Evolution, they only came back like occasionally for Rumbles. That was about it. Yeah. So yeah, the women's tag titles were created after they were being done full time.
And I wouldn't throw it I wouldn't throw it away of the idea that the Bella Twins could enter this match, win the tag titles, and then we have that feud between Roxanne and Raquel, only to lead back to the eventual Liv Morgan return, and you could still go back that way. I wouldn't throw that idea away, but I just don't know with all the other storylines going on if that's the direction. I'm only speculating, and well, let's face it, we'd like to do that. But who are you assuming is going to represent the Raw and NXT side and complete this tag match, and then give us your thoughts about this tag team match?
Well, from what I saw, again, this is just reports. Nothing is ever confirmed because things have changed. The Raw team, who's going to be revealed tomorrow, had like no plans to be part of Evolution at all, apparently, before Liv getting injured. So they're going to be a last minute replacement. So that leads me, unfortunately, to believe that it's not going to be the Bella Twins because they were factored into things. At least Nikki was. And apparently this Raw team was not factored in at all prior to Liv's injury. So that would lead credence to it being Natalya and Maxine if it is ending up being them. I think Solruka and Zaria are like definitely the right choice. I guess it could be they've been kind of more recent. It could be, I guess, Izzy and Tatum. But other than that, I couldn't see it being like any other like NXT team because there isn't really that many. I guess it could be Fatal Influence, but they're doing other stuff at the Great American Bash, and then JC is, wrestling later in the night. So I think Zaria and Solruka would definitely be the right call. And also because Solruka, if you're not going to have her defend one of her two other titles, the NXT Women's North American Championship and the Speed, I think at least having her like on the show in a tag team match would be cool. Who do I think would win in that? I mean, like, it's very hard to bet against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. I love both of them. It's very weird, I will say. I mean, Charlotte is a tag team champion. She won those with Asuka, but it is very strange to see Charlotte in tag team competition. But I don't think that they would have put them together if they were, like, not going to win them now. So I have to bet on Alexa and Charlotte. It's really hard not bet against them. So I have to pick them.
Yeah, it's really hard, and it's really hard to not enjoy what those two are doing right now.
Oh, I've been enjoying it, yeah.
Ever since Charlotte came back, you either were a fan of it or you had pushback on her winning the Royal Rumble match. I think one of the biggest things that I, as a fan, always wanted to see from a babyface Charlotte side is just a little vulnerability. I wanted to see more of the person and less of the character. And I think we're seeing a little bit more of that guard being let down with Alexa Bliss. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. And because of that, we're seeing that vulnerability show up just a little bit. And now it hasn't started, but I just see it happening, especially knowing that Alexa Bliss will always challenge you. Whether it's in a segment, on the microphone, she gives it back. And I love that about her. She is, in my eyes, one of the best hands WWE has ever had in a women's division. And I'm just like you. I'm having a hard time betting against them. However, I can't always bet against the Judgment Day because just when you think they're no longer, they always seem to pop back up and better than ever. So, and as you said, when we're talking about WrestleMania, they did drop the tag team titles there only to get them back the next night. So what does this do? I mean, I don't think anybody truly expects Raquel and Roxanne to gel like a top tag team anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I love Roxanne. I've known her since way well before she signed. Been following her for about 6 years now. I'm very excited to see her get this opportunity. I could see them retaining if Charlotte were to turn on Alexa, because there's been teases of them having a singles program that could be a thing for SummerSlam for them, like Alexa versus Charlotte, like individually. I guess because it is 2 nights, right? SummerSlam.
Yep.
So that could also be it. The seeds could be not for them to be a tag team, but to against each other. And I could see Charlotte turning on Alexa, and that ultimately allows Raquel and Roxanne to retain. I think it's going to be between those two teams. It's just a matter of, does Charlotte turn or does she not? If she doesn't, I think they win. If she does, I think the Judgment Day retain.
I'm going to put it out there. I want WWE to surprise the heck out of us and have Sol Ruca and Zarya walk out tag champions.
You think they'd put a third title on Sol?
Yeah, because I don't think the speed title really matters on the main shows, but I think just involving NXT more with the tag team titles might be the right move from a long-term view, because it's very limited on the Raw and the SmackDown side in my eyes. I would love to see NXT be more prominent in those tag titles.
That's fair. And if there was going to be a team to do it, it would be them. I can agree with that. Yeah.
And how cool would it be to see Sol Ruca perform on a Raw and a SmackDown and just get that? Seeing a Soul Snatcher in front of like 20, like, can we not say that's not one of the more impressive finishers in the game right now?
I agree. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah. So we have that. Now we have a WrestleMania rematch also on this show as Naomi goes up against Jade Cargill in my eyes, one of the more awkward setups on SmackDown, simply because we saw Tiffany announce her opponent. Jade is out there. We had Jade and Trish in the ring, and then the next thing we saw was them in a backstage segment, basically saying the same thing, only to set up an attack from Naomi, who is starting to always pop me when she says proceed with caution with her evil laugh. But I'm happy to see these two both on the show, especially Naomi. Where do you think this kind of goes in the kind of, not so much order, but like, are people, like, do you think people are expected to get excited about this, or do they want to see something else with these two?
Well, I think a lot of people, including myself, are already looking ahead at what's to likely come at SummerSlam. Because Tiffany, I mean, spoiler alert, it's going to be Tiffany versus Jade.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be happily surprised. I will not be mad if Trish Stratus becomes an 8-time champ, but I just don't foresee that happening. I think it is going to be Jade versus Tiffany at SummerSlam. And then the obvious thing, if you want Jade, I think Jade is going, if they're going this specific route and having Jade win the title at SummerSlam and then Naomi cash in, I think it would make more sense for Jade to win at Evolution. She gets 1-2 wins over Naomi, but Naomi gets the big one when it's for the championship and the cash in. That's if they're going that route. Which I foresee, because it just makes sense. Like, why wouldn't they? Why would they not have Naomi cash in at SummerSlam? It's like prime opportunity. So I think because I'm convinced they're going that route, I foresee Jade winning again, just in this no holds barred to set up for the big moment of Jade. Jade wins her first world championship in WWE. Oh, but here comes Naomi. She should have proceeded with caution. So I think Jade is going to win at Evolution and then at SummerSlam, but then Naomi cashes in successfully.
I have a very similar theory as you, but because it's a 2-night SummerSlam, I feel there's going to be something bigger on the horizon. I think the first person to congratulate Jade on becoming champion is Bianca Belair.
Oh, yeah.
and it's a heel.
Oh
turn
yeah,
from
because
Bianca
they are hoping for Bianca to be back. This is
it's
true.
a heel
This
turn
is
on
true.
from Bianca to set up a championship win for Naomi. And this would then allow Jade needing to find someone, and this is where I think a babyface Nia Jax comes into play.
You think Nia would be baby? Interesting.
I will say this. She had so much unnecessary heat in my eyes. I get what people are saying, but it bugs me to hear what Twitter says how a pro wrestler should work, especially with if it wasn't for her punching Becky Lynch in the face, the man character would not absolutely kick every wall down. I think her work since she's been back has been absolutely amazing. What she was able to do in the Queen of the Ring last year, that match with Lyra Valkyria, how she was able to help Tiffany Stratton elevate into that babyface role and then help her be just an actual champion and then help elevate that. She does not get the credit she deserves. I think Nia Jax is, I think a lot of people are starting to give the respect to Nia Jax. And I think that's where I think we can see this side of her. I know, that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm a big Nia Jax supporter, so.
I forgot. I know Bianca's death missing, they said Evolution, but they were hoping she would be back for SummerSlam. I don't know how, or just, do they just do like, because I think the big match would be Rhea. But the thing is, I think the big match would be Rhea versus Bianca. But that goes against what I think would happen at Evolution. I guess there's a lot that's dependent on, like, does Bianca come back then or not? I don't know.
And that's something we have to take into consideration. Yeah. Like, what this is, I believe Evolution is the last WWE PLE before SummerSlam.
That's true, yes.
So I think it's going to be very intriguing to see kind of what seeds get planted on the women's side of things leading into SummerSlam. And I do think there's going to be some.
I think Bianca, even if she can't wrestle, I think it's possible she could like be involved at Evolution and maybe help Jade win. Or like you said, I don't know, or does Bianca like turn and help Naomi? There's a lot of things they could do. I think right now, if I'm not factoring in Bianca, I have Jade win, and then Jade wins at SummerSlam, and then Naomi cashes in. But that's assuming like no Bianca involvement.
Yeah, and you could still then keep a heel Nia Jax in that same role if you really want to. But or not even have her all and just give Naomi the moment she's worked her tail off for. Okay, I'm gonna then go into one of the more unknown matches out there, and that is the Battle Royal. The winner of this gets a guaranteed title shot at Clash in Paris. I'm giving the respect of the championship matches. It should be the last. This is so wide open because as of right now, we don't know a single person in this match or a single female in this match. So it's anybody's ball game.
True.
I believe strongly that Stephanie Vakira is.
I was just about to say that as well.
Because I would be shocked if Stephanie Vakira and Rhea Ripley do not headline Clash in Paris on the women's side.
But does Rhea win at Evolution? Or because I definitely like, there's no way Rhea doesn't get like some women's championship match at SummerSlam. It's just a matter of, do we get Io and Rhea in a rematch, or do we get Io, Rhea, Bianca in a rematch? Like, I don't. I agree. It's going to be Stephanie. I think her versus Io or her versus Rhea would be super fun. So I guess I'd be fine either way. But I also, if you're looking at the names that like big names that aren't booked that could realistically win, I think it would be Stephanie Vakira. Absolutely.
This is a match I do think we're going to get a lot of nostalgia. Going to get a lot of like surprises. This could be where we see some TNA involvement, maybe even some AAA involvement. Is there Is there something that you're hoping that will happen in this? That since it's wide open, we'll let everything come into play. What is your hope outside of who wins? Is there a moment that you hope to see?
Yeah, I don't know if it would be in this match, but my God, I want Paige. I want that Paige return so bad. Like, other than like Mickey James, like Paige was my other girl, like growing up, like for the longest time. And she is a free agent. I don't think she has a book signing because she's been doing a book tour. I don't think she's a book signing next weekend. I could be wrong. And she's a free agent. I know she's been saying she hasn't been in talks with WWE, but people say that all the time. or it could come together very last minute because a lot of this card, other than JC Jane and Jordan Grace, has been last minute.
Yeah.
So I would love for Paige to return. I mean, obviously, I don't think it's going to happen. I would love for Mickey to be in this, obviously, but the day before, she's gonna be in Dallas for StarCast for another show. So I mean, granted, she could fly in Sunday. I don't know. We'll see. But I would love for Paige to be in this, definitely, and I think we'll definitely get some NXT people in this. TNA people would be really fun. Let's see, from TNA. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because she has history if you put like an Ash by Elegance in there, Dana Brooke, because she has that history with WWE and she was in the first Evolution and also in the Battle Royal. I've been seeing stuff about the Inspiration.
Yeah.
Potentially doing stuff at Evolution. I don't know where they would be. But they are super fun. I mean, you've seen them in Royal Rumbles. They're really fun. So I would be happy to see them. I mean, they could be in the tag team thing, but they never said TNA, WWE.
No, but you just sparked something in my head. The one thing we do know is that TNA and NXT have that working relationship.
Yeah.
So if NXT holds a gauntlet match or something,
yeah.
I don't know I don't know if they have anything in,
Yeah.
and the Inspiration come out very last and win it,
Yeah.
they could be the
Yeah.
NXT representation.
Yeah. I have seen that they're supposed to be, well, before this one was announced today, somebody said they could be adding 2 or 3 other matches. So that would mean 1 or 2 other matches. So
Yeah.
I would love to see the Inspiration though too.
I believe there was 8 in 2018, right? 8 matches.
I would have to look it up again, to be honest. There was at least 7.
Also, I do like the throwback from the last one that we have that Battle Royal. I mean, that's something that, yes, it seems like it's just hey, let's just get as many women on the show as possible. But the fact that it was done in 2018, I like that at least it's a tradition.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's nice to have tradition in some cases. But yeah, I mean, I think this Battle Royal could be one of the more fun matches of the night. But at the end of the day, I think, like how Stephanie Victor just has a rocket strapped to her back, and how can you not? She was the first ever North American and NXT champion at the same time for a reason. Clearly, they felt very responsible that she could do that, and she did for a week before they stopped, because that's what that was a thing. But would you think there would be anybody on the current roster that could win
from the main roster?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be dumb to have Julia win it. But then again, they've had double champs before. Lyra, just like an example there, of who is like a tops. Like I would think it would have to be somebody who's like, if they're going to be going for a world title in Paris, it like has to be somebody who's like regularly booked. Now, granted, I guess if she's cleared, it could be Bianca, but like she was not supposed to be cleared in time, from what I understand. It could be, if she's cleared, it could be Bianca Belair. I'm going down the roster in my head.
What about Asuka?
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. Asuka versus Rhea, Asuka versus Io would be fun.
That's
Asuka
whatever.
versus Bianca, any of them. Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
it could be Asuka. Absolutely. I just think Stephanie is right there.
Yeah.
Um Asuka's a good option too as well, I think. Mm.
I would I know that was a match that a lot, like, I know during the Night of Champions when they had Jade versus Asuka, a lot of
Mhm.
people wanted to see Asuka win for that reason, just to get
Yeah.
Asuka and Io at SummerSlam.
Mhm.
Um and maybe, just maybe, we could still get it. Like,
Mhm.
it's open. Like, we don't know if Rhea Ripley is the shoe-in to win in this match.
Yeah, we don't.
She doesn't have the best record one-on-one versus Io. Um, and before, and you know what, we're talking about it. Let's just go there for the the women's championship. We got Io Sky defending her championship against Rhea Ripley. I believe this is the main event match of the night, which would be very very kind of full circle, as Rhea Ripley was in the very first match in the very
Yeah.
first Evolution card,
Mhm.
as she defeated Dakota
Even though they never
Kai.
aired it, I'm still mad
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, and it was for the NXT UK Championship, I
Mhm.
believe.
Mhm.
But man, this is the match. I think it's the hardest one to actually think, because how can you bet against Rhea Ripley? But at the same time, did anybody think Io Sky was going to walk out of WrestleMania still champion? And she did. Let alone did anybody think she was ever going to walk into WrestleMania champion? And she did.
I was there in person when
Mhm.
she won, when she beat Rhea, and I didn't even think it was. I love both of them, but I didn't think that was going to happen, but it did. And like you said, Io does have an impressive record against Rhea. I think it just comes down to, are we getting Bianca and Rhea at SummerSlam, or man, honestly, coming into this, I was leaning like Io. I'm like, Io's not losing. I'm like, Rhea's gonna win at SummerSlam. Like that's how I always saw it. But then you bring up like the Bianca thing, and I'm like, oh, Rhea versus Bianca is a SummerSlam match, absolutely. Or do they run back the triple threat? Uh this is probably and it's a good thing. This is probably the one that I'm most unsure about now. Coming into this, I was like, Io ain't losing. Rhea's gonna just win at SummerSlam. Um,
Until
ugh,
you factor just what Io has
I
changes
still
here.
like I still believe that. Like I still believe that like Rhea would win at SummerSlam. I think that's a bigger moment for her. But if it's setting up for Rhea versus Bianca at SummerSlam, then obviously like Rhea has to win here. It's all dependent. Okay, so if Bianca is planned to return, then like Rhea will absolutely win here. I think. But if Bianca's not, then I think Io retains. I think it just depends. Ugh. I still think I'm still gonna go with Io, but I think the big match for SummerSlam would be Rhea and Bianca, but that we don't know if she's gonna be back in time or not.
Yeah. And this is the one thing I do love about this new kind of
I'm
era
wearing
in
an EO
WWE.
shirt, by the way. But yeah.
I'm marking out my own merch. I had to. Um, I wanted my son and I to wear the same one as we got haircuts, but that's totally different story. I'm getting off topic. I have a hard time thinking Rhea Ripley is not going to win this, and I get it, because I think Io might just be the women's wrestler of the year this year. But I still always look at Rhea Ripley as being the face of where the WWE wants their women's division to go. And Bianca, yes, right there. I looked at, if they have more big time matches, like you said, at SummerSlam, even some WrestleMania, I feel they are our generation of Rock and Stone Cold for the women. But I think you easily can do Rhea Ripley win this. Bianca Belair challenges Rhea for the match she never got, and that was a title match against Rhea Ripley. That would set up that match at SummerSlam, and then maybe you can do a rematch on Raw, which would give the spotlight to Rhea and Io, only for maybe someone to come in and put that little screwy to Io and then set something up there. Maybe it's Asuka, maybe it's Kairi Sane. I have a feeling since Asuka's the one that said damage control is over, that could have been a personal message. I don't know. But I don't know. I think, especially with Clash in Paris coming in, I think you gotta put your heavy hitters, and I think Rhea Ripley is the heaviest hitter when it comes to the female division right now.
You mentioned before, I think for the women's title or Money in the Bank, because it being 2 nights, you could also, I guess, do a 2-night thing for the women's world title, where, I don't know, you get Io and Rhea first, or you get Io and Bianca first, and then Bianca wins that, and then that's how you get to Bianca Rhea, or you do Io Rhea, and then Rhea wins at night 1, and then Rhea then defends against Bianca on night 2. I just don't know. Like, it would be odd if Io were to lose here and then not be involved in SummerSlam is the thing, because it's so close. So I think even if Io loses, she's still going to be involved in the women's title picture at SummerSlam. It is 2 nights. You could have 1-on-1, and then whoever the champ is coming out of that faces Bianca, or Bianca comes in and be like, I never got my 1-on-1 match with you, Io. I want you at SummerSlam. And then whoever does that, wins that, goes on to face, which in that case would be Bianca, faces Rhea on night 2. I don't know. There's so many things. Damn you, Bianca, for complicating this. I think ultimately, though, I think I have to go with Io, because I think if she loses, like, what? I don't know. I have to go with Io. I just think Rhea is going to win at SummerSlam. I think that is more impactful because she lost last year against Liv. And Rhea just had a win. You know, she just won at Night of Champions. You know, she can take 1 L. And then we've seen she still gets a rematch, you know, like regardless. Like Rhea, I love Rhea, but like, you know, she easily gets rematches. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility for her to still lose and then still be involved at SummerSlam. So I think I have talked myself back into Io. I'm still sticking with Io.
I was just gonna say, how funny would it be if Rhea does win and then you just play it back with Bianca challenging for that, Io then asking for her rematch, only to set that triple threat right back up.
Yeah, I just find it like, if Io loses, like, how would she not be on the SummerSlam card, you know? So I'm going to stick with Io, because if there's anybody who can still lose a match and get another match and then not 3 weeks later, it is Rhea Ripley. And I say that with love.
Yeah, if there's one thing she picked up with her matches from Charlotte at WrestleMania, it might just be, how do I always stay in the world title picture?
Yeah. Especially with SummerSlam coming up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we did mention it earlier, but Tiffany Stratton did choose Trish Stratus to be her challenger at Evolution. This marks the first one-on-one singles championship match for Trish Stratus, I believe, in over 6 years. I look at this as, we know Tiffany's winning this match. We know this is just a let's bring Trish Stratus in to completely showcase the star power that is Tiffany Stratton. I think we might see a attempt of a cash in this match, only for Jade to maybe. I don't know. I think this could have some shenanigans. Usually get that with babyface versus babyface, but if we do get a pure moment here, I would love to see that. Just respect from, an absolute icon in Trish Stratus to what
Mhm.
I think could be a potential icon in Tiffany Stratton.
Mhm.
Where are you with this match, and what do you think we're going to get with these two?
I mean, I'm also the same. To me, I'm trying to think. To me, I think this is the most obvious outcome, which is crazy to say against Trish Stratus. But there is some potential that they can do at the end of this. Maybe Naomi tries to cash in, but Trish, even in defeat, still helps Tiffany. Or, it could be it all depends where they are on the card. Because I think if like Jade and Naomi are like right after that, I don't think they're gonna do that. So I think it depends where they are on the card, but there is a story that they could do if Jade or Naomi were to cash in, and then like Trish, like I said, even in defeat, still helps Tiffany. Or it could be a thing where we get Trish turning heel out of nowhere, because heading into this, they're both baby faces, but we have seen heel Trish before. Or it could be a thing where Jade helps thwart a potential cash in from Naomi. There's a lot of possibilities they can do in the aftermath with it, whether it's a Trish heel turn, a Naomi attempted cash in that either gets thwarted by Trish or Jade. There's some interesting things that they can do in the end, But I think the outcome, the finish is obvious. It's just after that there's a little bit of a mystery, some options they can do.
Yeah, and I don't hate the interference from Naomi with Trish kind of standing ground, because that means we're probably going to get a Naomi Trish Stratus match down the road, and I would not hate that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of we know exactly what the outcome is, or we feel we know exactly what the outcome is. I
feel most confident about this one of all the matches on the card, to be honest.
However, I do think this opens up possibilities of where they can go the most, because of how conclusive the outcome may seem to be. And especially with anything involving Naomi, I think you can't throw anything out the window, because she's getting her hands into just about everything now.
I agree. She's in everybody's business. She could, in theory, also cash in on Io or Rhea. In theory, technically, she can cash in for any title that she wants. She could cash in for the IC title, for all we know. We've seen those seeds have been planted between Becky and Naomi. If you watch the what was it, Money in the Bank post show, there's some seeds there. She doesn't necessarily have to go after the women's championship, but that's the most obvious because that's where Jade is. But they could throw us for a loop, I suppose.
That would be a very intriguing one. I also wonder too if this Money in the Bank cash-in has anything to do with the NXT title, which is the last match that we have yet to talk about. And I say this based on her history with the one challenging, and that is the Juggernaut Jordynne Grace. She is challenging Jacy Jayne, the NXT champion, for this, and the winner of this title, as we talked about earlier, has Slammiversary implications, because the winner goes on to face Masha Slamovich in a title versus title, not title for title. The wording matters. I've seen people talk about this, but versus it's just champion versus champion, not champion.
Are we sure?
Well, the last time they did it, they did title for title with Stephanie and Julia.
Why don't they just say champion versus champion? Well, that's my thing.
That's what it is.
I saw title versus title. That's different.
Oh, I thought on TNA they said champion versus champion.
This says title versus title for the TNA Knockouts and NXT Women's Championship. Okay. So for me, I don't know why they just don't say winner takes all then. Because there's a difference between winner takes all and just champion versus champion. But they say title versus title, that creates confusion. But from what I understand, it's a winner takes all, is from what I understand, which I am, like all the women in this, I would have much preferred a champion versus champion, not the titles. I don't think I'm the biggest fan, even though I like all of them. I don't think I'm the biggest fan of the winner takes all in this case. I don't think I am.
And I think you can easily go back and forth of whether an NXT person should hold a TNA title, TNA talent holds an NXT title. That's a secondary thing. But yeah, as you say, the wording just.
From what I understand, it's winner takes all.
Oh, okay. And I'm the same as you. I just hope it's champion versus champion. They have a match.
Yeah.
No title is on the line. We just find out who the best is.
That's what I'm hoping too, but it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. But either way, JC Jane versus Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. We know a title is for sure on the line in this match. And I'm very, very much thinking we're not going to get a new champion as much as I really hope we do.
See, I would have also said that before I saw this title versus title thing, because I thought it seemed like the plan was, for Jordan to go to the main roster, which I'm like, sure, like after Evolution, sure, she's had like 3 women's championship opportunities, and then she loses them and then goes to the main roster. But if they're going to do a winner takes all, it has to be Jordan versus Masha, who has history with each other. So that's why I'm like, oh, like I don't know.
Did you happen to catch TNA this past week?
No, I saw Killer Kelly and Masha did something with each other. I know JC was also on it, I believe, but I don't know what she did.
Yeah, I think all of Fatal Influence is actually there. So, that's why I have reason to assume that JC Jane is going to somehow sneak this one out, especially if the rumors are true about Jordan Grace potentially going up to SmackDown.
Yeah.
And the draft being after SummerSlam. I don't understand why you would put a title on Jordan Grace for a month or so and then have her go up as champion.
It wouldn't even be a month. It would be a week. I think regardless of who she faces, Masha should win this winner takes all match.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because it's kind of the reverse of what we saw, it would be a TNA talent now holding a WWE title. I think Masha is so talented, and I think her reign is not done. And I'm like, I do not want it to end by a winner takes all match. That's why I was kind of put off by it a little bit, because I'm like, I don't want Masha's reign to end in a winner takes all match. I just didn't want that. I think in that case, I think the bigger match would be Jordan versus Masha, because they have that history. The last time Masha beat Jordan, actually twice, because she won it at Bound for Glory, and then they faced off at another pay-per-view. Masha retained. I think that's the bigger match that you would want at Slammiversary. But do I think Jordan is going to win because she might have a call-up? I don't know. I just, regardless of who it is, I think Masha Slamovich should walk out of Slammiversary with both titles. If they're going that route.
And even the story that a Jordan Grace, Masha Slamovich have going into Slammiversary, with knowing that Masha she won the title from Jordan Grace, right? And now she has a chance to take another title from Jordan Grace, but then Jordan Grace also has the opportunity to take back the title she never got the rematch for. And it to me, it's just that is a very good sports story. And that in essence is, I think, why it's the bigger matchup, because they have all the investment, they have that history, they have everything lining up for a big moment, and Slammiversary is a big show for TNA. But did anybody think JC Jane was going to beat Stephanie Bakir for the NXT Women's title?
No, it seemed very abrupt, but obviously with her getting called up, it makes sense. But I just think that you were talking about Julia earlier. They're fantastic talents. I just feel like a lot of it was their reigns were so rushed just to get them to the main roster. I don't I think the thing was Julia was injured, but I still think that like, what was the point of them having, again, the winner takes all match for Stephanie to hold both titles for like 3 weeks and then be like, actually, nah, I can't defend both of these. I don't understand what the point of that was. But it seemed to have been brought about by rumors of Julia being injured and her needing time off. And I guess Stephanie was the only person that they thought could beat her. So I don't know. But going back to like actual Evolution, I think if this Slammiversary match was just champion versus champion, I would have booked JC Jane to win at Evolution. But since I'm under the impression it's winner takes all, I think Jordynne Grace has to win at Evolution. And will.
Yeah, and I think it's clear that a reception of Jordynne Grace going back to TNA would be a lot more welcomed by the TNA audience. Last question I think I'm going to ask about the Evolution shows. This is obviously the second installment of Evolution. What do you remember from the 2018 one that you hope to have carried over, and what's something from the 2018 that you're like, you know what, I hope that stays in 2018?
Oh my god. Well, I'm still sad because we never got Alexa versus Trish, and that was the first match they announced, but then obviously, Alexa got injured. You know what can stay in 2018 though, and I think she will, is Ronda Rousey. So that to me can always stay in 2018. I don't think she's going to be around for this one though, so I don't think I have to worry about that. But also like,
she's going to win the Rumble.
No, I swear to God.
She wants a retirement match. Vince promised her to her too. I'm kidding.
I think if she were to pop up anywhere, it would be the AEW route though, because like Marina is there, or like a GCW, because Shayna's a free agent now. So like I said, I don't think I have to worry about that. So that's one thing I wish would stay. Just her. One thing that I wish would be like carried over. We didn't have tag titles at that time. I wish. So we had last woman standing between Charlotte and Becky. We had a couple title matches.
We had the Mae Young finale.
I miss that so much. Tony versus Io. Oh my god! I watched that match again. It was so good. I miss the Mae Young Classic. I would love that, but you can't bring a whole 32 woman tournament in a week. That would just be crazy. But I wish we had like another match that had like another. I know we have the no holds barred, but I would have loved to see one of the championship matches have an additional like stipulation on it, because Charlotte and Becky was last woman standing for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So I wish one of the title matches would have. Granted, we still have time; things could change. But I wish one of the championship matches would have like an extra like stipulation on it.
Well, I guess if we're going technicality, the Fatal 4-Way has no disqualifications.
Yeah, I guess. But like a non-traditional, like a street fight, last woman standing, I quit, like something.
And how good was Charlotte versus Becky in 2018?
Good.
Yeah. The longest match on that show, actually.
30
roughly.
minutes.
Yeah. I always find it crazy when they go on the dot.
Yeah. I didn't realize that until, again, I was looking it over. I'm like, oh, they went like on the dot. I mean, granted, WWE could have lied because they like to round things up or down, But that was a fantastic match. So yeah, I just wish like a championship match had like an extra like elevated stipulation. Like I said, we still have a week. We still have one Raw. We still have one NXT. We still have one SmackDown. Hell, we still have like NXT Great American Bash could change something, because you have Blake and Jordan versus Fallon and JC. They could add a stipulation to that one for all we know.
Yeah. I would love to see the Intercontinental title match become a ladder match.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
I would assume that could be the one
Just
that
want
gets
something
amplified.
extra, you know. I am excited to see like just a one-on-one match, like get a stipulation, because it's rare. Like nowadays, we get singles matches for no championships, so that's always exciting too. But like I want just a little bit more, spice things up even a little bit more, you know.
Yeah. The one thing that I hope we do see is somehow in this battle royal we get a Nikki Bella versus Chelsea Green spot.
Yeah.
I think that would be absolutely fantastic. If even by chance, if Maxine Dupree is not in a tag title match, I know she was someone who also
Yeah.
loved the Divas.
Mhm.
I would love just to see that as a wonderful homage, because if you're not a fan of the Bella Twins, you cannot say, like, you cannot disagree with the fact that what they were able to do for the WWE and to bring women into WWE and give so many little girls hopes and dreams to become a WWE superstar or a diva or whatever you want to call. They were so influential in their time, and it cannot go without saying, because the Bella Twins, as much as I wanted to see somebody else at 30, you cannot deny the ovation Nikki Bella received in Indianapolis. So the respect is absolutely there. I'm like you. I would love to see the Bella Twins as a team, but if we were to get Nikki Bella on her own, I would love to see a Chelsea Green.
I wanted like a
moment.
Chelsea Green. I mean, so when I did predictions a couple months ago, Chelsea was still like champion, right? Like when I was booking it, I was like, I wanted a Chelsea Green Divas Gauntlet, like Chelsea Green just defend against like 4 or 5 divas, like in a row for the U.S. title. But obviously, I don't think that's gonna happen with Julia. So like I would love. I think Chelsea is gonna be in that battle royal, and she's definitely gonna get some of those moments. I do hope she gets that moment with Nikki as well. Paige and Chelsea, I think, could be really funny too.
Yeah.
But yes.
Do you think we're going to get an all-female commentary team?
Possible. So Lita lives in Atlanta, and she's not announced for anything. So like, and she commentated like the Mae Young Classic. So like Lita could, or she could also be in the Battle Royal. I mean, Beth Phoenix has also, but like we have not seen her. Like she's not under WWE contract anymore, and obviously, Cope is in AEW. So like I'm trying to think. I mean, Stephanie McMahon has also done commentary in the past. She, I think, was on commentary for the Women's Royal Rumble, the first one. So like, I guess if you were to do anybody, it could be like a Stephanie, Lita.
Yeah.
Maybe Beth Phoenix deal, but I think you would want at least Michael Cole to hold down the fort. Like, I think we will accept Michael Cole because he's so good.
Okay, one last question, and this is kind of a fun one before we get wrap it up. What are the odds AJ Lee shows up at Evolution?
Well, I wouldn't say they're impossible. I would give it a solid 2%.
In the words of one of my favorite movies, so you're saying there's a chance?
Yes. I think there's always a chance. Because she's physically in shape, you know. She seems to be doing well mentally. From what I understand, she's not booked for anything that weekend. And I think if CM Punk and Roxanne Perez were to convince her to come back at any time, it would be Evolution.
If Paige comes back, couldn't that also?
Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my god! I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Just get us Paige and AJ Lee in the tag team tag team title match. They're
actually the Raw team.
Yeah. Sometimes if you just say a lot of things and it happens, you look like a genius. I've learned that very well.
Man, I am manifesting. Like, if there is only one person I could have return, it is Paige. Like, I want that so bad because my dream match is not going to be happening at Evolution. We've already seen that because the one person is booked and the other person is going to be states away. But Paige, there is a possibility. I don't believe she's booked for anything that weekend, and she's a free agent.
I am so excited to see what the WWE does have in store. I know, despite the popular belief on Twitter, because they definitely are the smartest people I know. I don't care about. I said this earlier, or I said this on my last episode. It isn't a lack of build. There's been 7 years built for Evolution 2 in my eyes. I think the fans, especially female fans, have been wanting this a second time for so long that it's going to go. This event is going to blow the expectation off, and I would not be surprised to see Evolution be the PLE of the year and win that Slammy.
Yeah, Nikki Bella has said that too. That I understand like the frustration with the build up, because like they're straight up like what the only kind of build up we have are like genuine like non last minute build up is Jade and Naomi and then JC and Jordan. So I understand people because it's kind of just all thrown together. However, I think what they have thrown together, especially after being forced to shuffle some things around, is actually pretty damn good so far. I think the card itself is great. I think some of like a lot of the build, yeah, absolutely has not been the best, but I think the card on paper is really, really good. And we still have some uncertainty. There still could be 1 or 2 matches added there. So there's still a lot of possibilities, you know?
And I think that's what I'm very excited about, is that we still, as of this recording, still have a Raw, still have an NXT, still have a TNA, and still have a SmackDown ahead. So there's still a lot that could be added. There's a lot that could be, a lot more information could be given, and it's going to be fun, whether or not that's an implication to a match, a stipulation to a match, another match. Everything is on the table because what do they always say? Cards subject to change. But I think what remains is that Evolution 2 is going to go down as a very historic night for the WWE. Ella, I want to take the time to again thank you so much for joining us. It's always been a pleasure. I truly respect the time we share and the opinions that you have. If you can, let everybody know where they could find you and what you do have going on, because I'll make sure that it's in the description of the recording as well.
Absolutely. You can follow me on Twitter. I don't call it that other thing. And Instagram at It's Ella J. All my links to all my projects, podcasts, and writing are all in my bio if you go to Twitter or Instagram. I will also be in Atlanta live for Evolution. I was not going to miss it. Over my dead body, I was going to miss it. I was not going to miss it. So if you're in Atlanta and you're there, please say hello. I got my EO Sky shirt on today. I have an outfit idea for Evolution. So I'm excited to see how that. Not looking forward to the heat, but definitely looking forward to Evolution.
Awesome. And hopefully you don't mind, before we hit the end thing, we always send a visual reminder to everyone to see what Turnbuckle Studios has coming up on the week. It is their calendar, playing it so I don't have to edit this in later. Yeah, I'm being lazy, but also productive. So check this out before we say goodbye.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we got total non-stop action with Brace for Impact at 8 p.m. Friday we game again with Unleashed, the Jessica Wilde story at 7 p.m. Following the game, join us for the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
Awesome. And that is everything you can get visually on Turnbuckle Studios through the Turnbuckle affiliation program. Ella J, before I wrap it up, do you have anything you want to leave the great fans that do watch my show?
Support women's wrestling and support Evolution. It's also going to be All In weekend. It's also going to be Great American Bash. I don't know. I doubt there's going to be anything women's wrestling added to Saturday night's main event, but if there is, just support it all.
Oh yes, and by the way, I will be doing a live watch party for the Great American Bash. Thank you for reminding me. Holy, I can be the equivalent to the opposite of smart sometimes. But everyone, this has been episode 85, Evolution with Ella J. And as always on the Chris Parrish podcast, I remind every one of you to be happy, to be healthy, because at the end of the day, you matter. We'll see you next week.
Through the crowd.